I think you'd be forgiven if you thought that the only transfer happening this summer is Declan Rice leaving West Ham. It's the story that just seems to just continually be rumbling on, and it's overtaking everything else. It's almost like you're kind of forgetting that West Ham have got business to do. I think it's also fair to say as well, though, that the club are dealing with this first. They want to get the money in. They want to get this resolved. They also want to get a director of football appointed before moving forward with purchasing, players for next season. But XWHU employee has provided a really good update, actually, a very interesting one, and it's regarding Harvey Barnes. Now, Harvey Barnes is a player I personally really like. Really, really admire Harvey Barnes. And I think he's regarded, I think that's felt throughout football, really, isn't it? The majority of fans realise he's a good player. You've only got to look at his stats for last season in a team that were relegated and struggled. He was, he was a standout performer for them. I'm a really big admirer of him. Now, XWHU employee has provided an update on Barnes, and he has said that he is our #1 target. Effectively, he's one of the top on the list that West Ham are going to go for this summer, which I think's really interesting. Moyes is known to be a very, very big fan of him and wants to bring him in. This is one I'm actually quite confident in. I mean, I know you're going to get constantly linked with players over the summer and over January transfer windows. It's just natural, and it's driven by loads of people, agents. It's driven by the media, social media. You name it. So you don't want to. You tend to take things with a pinch of salt. Well, I certainly do, and try not to get too excited. But this is one I'm really quite confident in regards to. It's clear that he's a main target for West Ham. This is someone we're really going to go for. That's not to say we're going to get him. I'm not to say we're easily. I think we're going to have a bit of a battle on our hands. There is competition. X has said that, and also X did stress that no bid has been put forward yet. This is purely just preliminary talks, about getting the player in. As I say, I think the club are going to sit back and wait first on the Rice deal, which makes me think the Rice deal is going to be dealt with pretty sharpish. I don't think we're going to want that dragging on for too long. So it's interesting. So we've got competition though for Barnes. That is fact, and it's Tottenham are known to be a big admirer. Aston Villa also very, very keen, as are Newcastle. Villa, the XWHU employee did state that there are rumours that Barnes would like to remain in the Midlands. That was kind of a rumour. Whether that's true or not, I'm not sure. And if that's the case, then Villa are a more likely destination. But that's just a rumour. As I say, I'm quietly confident in it. I've just got a feeling we might get this over the line. And another big reason as well is that the Telegraph have run an article. Now, the Telegraph I consider reputable. You tend to find once they say something, it tends to stick, it tends to happen. And now they've reported that West Ham are the front runners, and this is a lot, leaning towards the fact this is quite likely to happen. So that fills me with confidence. X is going to be providing an update soon on the Barnes story and where we are with it. I believe that'll be on Monday for the when the podcast released. So it'd be interesting to see where this is going. But as I say, it's all kind of hinging on the Rice thing, isn't it? The club aren't going to start committing, £50 million, whatever, bids for players when, they haven't sold a player that's going to be effectively funding a lot of this. So that's the only thing. Harvey Barnes, of course, as I've said, he had a very, very good season with Leicester. Considering they were relegated, they were poor last season, really poor side overall. I mean, they really are not to their standards at all. They're now in the Championship. Barnes scored 13 goals for them. 13 goals. I mean, that is impressive for a winger. That's an impressive stat, and even more, as I say, impressive, as I say, for a team that's been struggling. So I like him. I really do. I'm a big admirer of him. I think he's a perfect David Moyes player. I see that Harvey Barnes. I'd like to know your thoughts on this and what your thoughts are on Barnes. I know some people are a bit negative. I've heard a couple of people say not sure, but I really like him. But anyway, I'd like to know your thoughts. But I consider Barnes to be kind of the Bowen on the left-hand side. I love the idea of having Barnes and Bowen operating on our wings. I think that would be really exciting. Both good goal scorers, both got pace, both attack. They run at players. That's what I like. I think they make things happen. And I'd really like to see that. As I said, he's a goal scorer, and that's something that I think is invaluable that we need. We need that at West Ham, especially when we seem to get the striker situation so wrong. I know that we're going to be no doubt actively again looking for another striker this summer. We don't know the situation on Antonio. Scamacca looks likely to leave. So it's imperative that if we're going to go for another striker, as I say, West Ham have got a bit of a bad history of this. Let's be honest. We don't seem to get the striker role ever right. We need goal scorers, and Bowen is one. And having another, if you've got a player like Barnes that's going to be able to score you 10 to 15 goals a season, and you've got the same for Bowen, I mean, that's massive. That's really big. The interesting thing I would say, though, about it is Benrahma. That's surely got to be the big question mark then. Well, what about Benrahma? Because effectively he's taken his position. And I think that he would. I think if we signed Harvey Barnes, I genuinely believe he would be ahead of Benrahma. So then the question mark's over, what happens to Saïd Benrahma? Personally, I'd quite like to see him take a bit more of a central role. I think he's effective there. I really do. Maybe alternate with Barnes and whatever. But that's how I would rather see Benrahma still in the side. I think he's done well this season. I think he's looked pretty good. Frustrating. That still frustrates me. I find his performances sometimes could be confusing. You know, he plays so... He seems to play really well. Let me know what you think of this, if I got this right. I think that Benrahma seems to play better when we're playing badly as a team. He outshines everybody else. He looks very, very good. And then when we're playing pretty well as a side, as a collective, it's almost like that's when he's the weakest link. I never quite get it. But that's not to say, I'm nitpicking here. I'm not attacking Benrahma. I thought he had a good season overall. But there, as I say, Barnes is a question, you know, what's his future? Not sure on that one. We've got the pool of European football. That's going to be a big one. I did say earlier Newcastle are in for him. And so obviously Villa have got a qualifier as well. But I still think that I still realistically think that West Ham have got a decent pool here on Benrahma. I really do. London and being in the Europa League, I do think it's going to be an interesting one. I believe that West Ham pulled this off, that's a statement signing. I really do. West Ham have got to get this summer completely right. Let's not forget. Let's not make no mistake about this. Losing Declan Rice is not only damaging to us as a team. Let's be honest, because he's our best player, he's our captain. It's a blow. So you know, the replacement Rice, not only in terms of who we're bringing in personnel, but we've got to bring a captain in. We've talked about this before. But one thing I'm really conscious of as well is I want to send the right message. West Ham have got to do business this summer. Well, I think they're dealing with it well. The signs are at this stage good. I like the players we're linked with. I think they're high caliber, and I think they're players we can realistically get, which I like. I like the fact that we're going to have money to spend because of the sale of Rice. That's good. And I like the fact this technical director appointment, whatever he's going to be, football director of football, whatever he's going to be called, in Tim Steidten. Now, if that looks like it's going to happen, which is good, but these are good messages. That's showing a good sign. But West Ham have got to do... Well, this is what I think we need to do. We need to get the Steidten deal over the line. We need to then go and get the right players in. That's really important. And also, we need to retain players. I really need to... We talked about this in the previous video. A Bowen contract's really important. And I genuinely believe that Harvey Barnes, if West Ham can get Harvey Barnes, that sends the message that we are not a selling club.